What is co-ownership? This is the question we want to answer on today's episode. We also want to discuss some of the advantages and disadvantages of going down the path of co-ownership. Co-ownership really is a property ownership where you have two or more people owning the same piece of property. Individuals can share in the costs of owning the property as well as the responsibilities associated with owning the property. Two different ways in which you can co-own property. The first one is joint tenancy. The second one is called tenancy in common. Joint tenancy is essentially where two or more individuals own the property together, but they own it in its entirety. So you've got undivided interest in the property being held by multiple parties. The defining feature with respect to joint tenancy is that if one of these owners dies, that interest doesn't go into this person's estate. Instead, it automatically passes to the other co-owner. Tenancy in common, on the other hand, is a co-ownership model whereby each of the individuals who own property can own either an equal share in the property or an unequal share. Their legal interest is really set by a percentage interest. One of the most defining features of this way of owning property, unlike joint tenancy, is when one of the owners dies, their portion doesn't pass to the other owners. It passes into their estate to be dictated by either their will or intestacy rules if we've got no will. Overall, although the shares may not be equally held, each of the tenants in common is entitled to possess or use the parcel of land unless the interest is modified again by a co-ownership agreement whereby we have consensus rules for how people can make decisions. Now, let's talk a little bit about the benefits of co-owning. Co-ownership of real estate can offer a number of financial, tax, and risk management benefits. First, with respect to financial advantages, co-owning property helps reduce the burden on individuals and increases their buying power when purchasing properties. It also gives them access to more expensive properties that may not have been within the budget if they were purchasing the property alone. This is one of the biggest incentives, is now you may be able to live or own a house in a really fancy area that you wouldn't have been able to do by yourself. This allows for shared costs. Some of the examples of those shared costs are mortgage payments, insurance premiums, taxes, maintenance fees, cable and internet, or any other expenses that may be affiliated with running the property, managing the property, or taking care of it. Tax benefits. Very important caveat here, I'm not a tax expert. I'm just a lawyer. I'm not an accountant. Important for you to think about the fact that co-owners are able to take advantage of deductions for mortgage interest payments and property taxes, which can really help offset some of the costs associated with owning a home or an investment property. Make sure that you speak with somebody who is an expert, an accountant, to understand what benefits are available in your given province, or if in the US, your state. Risk management benefits. Co-owning property with another person or group can help risk management. As with any asset, having multiple owners means a reduction in that risk, because now we've got shared risk. A single owner may have that risk on their shoulders by themselves. Co-owning will allow for shared bill paying, as well as any other expenses that may be associated with the property can now be shared. When entering into a co-ownership arrangement, it's essential that you draft a co-ownership agreement that's legally binding and outlines the rights and responsibilities of each of the owners. This document should include details about who will be responsible for maintenance, as we talked about before, and how are we going to split out profits. If somebody wants to sell their share of the property, how are they going to go about doing that? What are the steps that need to be taken? Also, what about if you get into a dispute with other owners? How are you going to deal with that element? It's important that your co-ownership agreement addresses these issues. When we draft a co-ownership agreement, it's vital we support a stable co-ownership arrangement. It should be clearly defined. It should have each role of each of the owners with respect to financial contributions, decision-making authority, etc. Additional provisions for termination or dissolution of the agreement should be included in case there are irreconcilable differences among co-owners that cannot be managed through mediation or arbitration. Now, with respect to financing options for co-ownerships, this is one of the most important considerations. How are you going to finance this transaction? Traditional mortgage loans, home equity lines of credit, private lenders, and investors can all be used to finance property. We know that. Given that this is not your standard way in which you purchase, it may be difficult to get a traditional mortgage. And so you've got to take advantage of the fact that there are private lenders or other alternative forms of lending that may be available. Often major banks will be unwilling to fund a co-ownership deal. As I said, it's not a typical circumstance in most cases when you've got, especially when people don't know each other that well. You've got private lenders and investors who can provide alternate sources of funding for those looking to enter into the co-ownership arrangement. These types of lenders often charge, of course, higher rates than banks. They may be more flexible when it comes to repayment terms, allowing borrowers greater control over how much they pay each month while still receiving funds quickly. It's important for anyone considering entering into a real estate transaction to understand all of these available kinds of financing options before making a decision. And this is really crucial in a co-ownership situation because you've got other individuals who may be impacted. So to avoid any issues down the road, you should craft all elements related to the co-ownership arrangement in a co-ownership agreement so that you have a smooth and enjoyable journey on your road to co-owning real estate or owning real estate in general. Now, if you have any questions about co-ownership, please don't hesitate to get in touch with our team at aurallp, or you can get in touch with me directly on any of the socials that I'm up on. You can find me at Ryan the Property Lawyer on Instagram, TikTok, or here on YouTube. Again, if you like this video, remember to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. That's all for now, and we'll see you soon.